Why can't you get over 75%, Donald? Joe Biden does.
Both Biden and Trump won, but President Biden is winning by significantly more.
Why do you have so much trouble getting it up? Your numbers, I mean. They changed the entire primary process to make it easier for you to dominate, and you're still coming up short. A whole lot of Republicans already think Joe Biden is a better choice. After all, he's stronger than you on the border, better on defense and security. Your campaign is broke. Your super PAC is broke. I mean, even the RNC is broke. You owe so much money, Donald. Money you don't have and can't get.
What?
Why did you even run? What are you trying to prove? That you can lose worse than last time?
Sunday, the 3rd of March 2024. I know I'm a Brit from the outside looking in, but you would expect somebody on MSNBC, Meet the Press, to at least get some facts right about former Diaper Don.
Mr. Trump's claim that he's immune from criminal prosecution for allegedly trying to overturn the 2020 election.
Anyway, Nikki Haley was the guest. Nikki Haley is in this position where she's trying to play all sides of one coin. Most people would say that if former guy called her up tomorrow, she would accept position of vice president. So should he win the presidency? So all of the stuff she's saying, you kind of have to take, excuse the cliche, with a pinch of salt. Right now, she's decided, do you remember that time where there was a contract issued during the Republican debate, and they all signed up, whatever we say now, we are going to prove that we are totally FOS, because should former guy get the nomination to be leader of the Republican Party, or the nominee, what a position, we will agree to it. Nikki has changed her mind. As I said, she is trying to play to every single gallery possible.
A country of freedom and a country that goes back to respecting the value of a taxpayer dollar. And we don't have any of that right now.
What does it say about the state of the Republican Party that you're saying that you don't know if the GOP frontrunner will follow the Constitution?
Because I'm saying that's not the Republican Party. That is Donald Trump. If that is in question, that is for the voters to decide. What I am saying is, I think we deserve better. Americans deserve better. We can't say that our only options are Joe Biden and Donald Trump. We can't. Two guys in their 80s.
Do you think Donald Trump would follow the Constitution if he were elected to a second term?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you always want to think someone will, but I don't know. You know,
that's why I just want to get the bottom line here, because as you rightfully say, IVF is a process in which embryos are sometimes destroyed or donated. Do you support IVF as it is practiced in the United States?
Yes, of course.
And should there be federal protections for that?
Yes, to make sure that IVF is there, to make sure that parents have it, all of that. But keep in mind, too,
should there be federal protections for people for IVF?
I think there should be protections for the embryos so that parents feel like they're protected and respected. But I think the conversation of what happens with those embryos has to be between the parents and the physician. Period. We don't need to go and create a bunch of laws for something when we don't have a problem. There is not a problem in terms of what is happening, so we shouldn't have government create one. This is not a hard thing. When parents decide they want to have a baby and they can't, the blessing that Michael and I had to be able to go through the fertility processes to have our babies was a personal one that we wanted to have just with our doctor. We don't want to have that conversation with government.
You're saying that the decision should be between parents and the physician, no one else. Why doesn't that same standard apply to an abortion, for example?
Well, what I have said is this should be in the hands of the people, for the people to decide. They should decide whether their states are going to be pro-life or pro-choice. They should decide whether their states are going to be IVF or not IVF. I personally think we want as many fertility options for people as they can. That's my opinion. But other states may decide something different. Alabama was going in one direction. I don't think that's a direction you want to go. The same way I don't think that the conversations that people have been having on abortion are good conversations. They divide people instead of bringing people together. And I think these need to be handled with respect and humanizing these situations instead of demonizing them.
You have said embryos are babies. It sounds like you don't want the government involved when it comes to IVF, but you do when it comes to abortion.
My personal opinions is that embryos are babies. Somebody else's may be different. I treated, the way Michael and I looked at it was we always looked at it that way. But everybody looks at this differently, and you are looking at a situation where, one, you're not talking about masses of embryos, but two, you've got to talk with your doctor about what's viable and what's not. It's a very technical process that you can't just blanket a law around.
Well, and you did sign a pledge, an RNC pledge, to support the eventual nominee. Do you still feel bound by that pledge?
I have always said that I have serious concerns about Donald Trump. I have even more concerns about Joe Biden.
So is that a no? Are you bound by the RNC pledge?
The RNC pledge, I mean, at the time of the debate, we had to take it to where, would you support the nominee? And you had to, in order to get on that debate stage, you said yes. The RNC is now not the same RNC. Now it's
So you're no
Trump's
longer bound
daughter-in-law.
by that pledge?
No, I think I'll make what decision I want to make, but that's not something I'm thinking about. And I think that while y'all think about that, I'm looking at the fact that we had thousands of people in Virginia. We're headed to North Carolina. We're going to continue to go to Vermont and Maine and all these states to go and show people that there is a path forward. And so I don't look at what ifs. I look at how do we continue the conversation.
You know, it's interesting. Chris Christie said, he was asked why he didn't endorse you when he dropped out. He said because he thought you would endorse Donald Trump. But it sounds like what you're saying is that you're leaning against endorsing Donald Trump. Can you just put a little bit of clarity? Are you leaning against endorsing Donald Trump at this point?
I truly am not thinking about any of that. And, you know, I mean, look, there's a...
So you're not taking it off the table.
There's a
fair
huge
to say.
difference between me and Chris Christie. Chris Christie ran because he just didn't want Trump. I am running because it's not about Trump. I voted for him twice. I was proud to serve America in his administration. This is not a never Trump movement. This is the fact that I see America going into a bad direction.
Trump did a couple of his speeches, rallies, whatever they are. They cost $2 million a go. What a waste. Who actually goes? During these speeches, he said he endorsed the head of the crime family in Colorado. Yes, the Bobo crime family. Also said that MAGA now is the Republican Party. Michael Steele, who's now on MSNBC, is a former GOP chairperson. He is, we could say, unimpressed, or to put it in another language, pissed off.
All right, so guys, I just want to kick us off with this a little bit of sound from Donald Trump this past weekend in a rally in Richmond, Virginia.
And they say, always trying to demean, well, MAGA really represents 48% of the Republican Party. No, it represents 96% and maybe 100%. We're getting rid of the Romneys of the world. We want to get Romneys and those out. But they know that we are the only ones who can stop them.
Game on, Trump. Game on. I've been in this party since 1976. If anyone is the biggest rhino, it's you. And we coming for you. So just so you understand, you drew the line, baby, stepping up to it. On a whole lot of Republicans out there, at least 40% or more, are stepping to that line, too. So you just need to chill on that. What you got, y'all?
Oh, Alicia, Michael Steele putting Donald Trump on notice.
Just on notice. You bring it, baby, because you want a punk? Let's punk, baby. Let's go. 101.
I will take you one Michael Steele and raise you a Sarah Longwell, who had this very accurate tweet in reference to that sound. She said, remember when Carrie Lake said she wanted McCain voters out of the party, didn't want their votes? I forget. Is she the governor of Arizona right now? Or no? We've already seen this movie play out when you say we are not a Big Tent and we don't want you at our table.
And that's the stupidity of the whole thing. So all of these folks, these late to the table rhinos, you want to throw a rhino? Donald Trump, you are the biggest rhino in the room, the biggest one. And you've duped these folks into thinking that you're somehow the conservative standard bearer. Come on. You want to try to build a party and grow it? You're not doing it. You're shrinking. What elections have you won? What elections have you won? None, except your own. And you're not winning this one because you didn't win the last one.
Well, and Simone, can I say that when we look, I know there's like all of this heat right now about polling. Part of the challenge for Biden and for Democrats is they are welcoming a broader coalition, right?
Yes.
They are trying to piece together a more diverse group. And yes, that requires more effort. Yes.
That is how the party has been. I mean, can I say a point about your point about Carrie Lake?
Yep.
It's so interesting because now she's literally begging for McCain voters in Arizona to support her.
Yes.
And Meghan McCain lane is basically like, do not cross go. We heard what you said and we're done with you. And that speaks volumes, I think, in Arizona and is a problem, shows how it's a problem, not just for Donald Trump at the top, but down ballot. When it comes to the Democratic Party apparatus, we just had joking when we say it's a big tent. The tent is large. If we sat here, we could put 100 different, as I like to call, factions on the board of people that are, or groups that are under the umbrella of the Democratic Party apparatus. So when you have a big tent, that means you do have to speak to a broad swath of people, but it can be done. It has been done. Joe Biden did it in 2020. Democrats did it in the most recent midterm elections. Tom Suozzi did it in New York 3 just recently. And I think Joe Biden is going to be able to do it come this November. So folks just going to have to organize and calm down. But I'm here for the drag that Michael Steele had.
I'm just so sick of this crap from these crazy folks that think that they are now the anchor of republicanism. You're not. Just trust me, you're not. You're not.
Take your party back there, Michael Steele, because the people are just acting up.
No, the line's been drawn. Let's go. Let's go.